Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and I know Vern is going to be coming back. He was on about a half an hour ago, had to leave. He'll be coming back again. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. Today's trivia theme is the NFL. We have to kind of finish off our NFL until at least the Super Bowl ends. When we don't have a guest today. I hear Mr. Vern Glenn popping on here. When we come back, there's a few little tidbits I wanted to talk about. Hey, Vern.
There.
Yeah, we just started this first segment here. We're just kind of talking about what the trivia theme is going to be the NFL.
Sure.
You guys ever heard of pickleball?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's one of my most viewed stories that I ever posted.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. Thousands.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I had never even heard of it until the resort that we foreclosed on. This was back, I think, about at least 10 years ago. These guys came from Florida and they said, "Well, where's pickleball?" And I said, "What?" And then they had to explain it to me. I said, "That sounds like a lot of fun." So we took the basketball court and we had a net, and then we just kind of drew some lines and stuff, and there you go. There's pickleball.
Fastest growing sport in America.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to mention.
And stay out of the kitchen.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. A phrase. That is a term. Yeah.
That's right.
When I try to explain to people, I say it's sort of like you're standing on a ping pong table, or it's like a small tennis court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Except the rackets are more hard, and the ball is kind of one of of like a hard ball type.
We'll know that it's made it when we have our first steroid scandal.
Exactly. All right. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments currently yielding over 7%, secured by real estate. Check them out, pacificprivatemoney.com. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman. Just really quickly about pickleball. When I found out about it, and I went to go visit one of the sister resorts down in the Palm Springs area, Desert Springs. Holy smokes! If they don't have a bunch of courts all set up to play pickleball, I mean it is, and it gets tournaments, and it's big stuff.
Yeah, it's on national TV. I mean, they have it's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. It's absolutely crazy right now how it's exploding in popularity. Everybody I know is playing it. Everybody's asking me if I have a racket. And it's so funny. The first time I was introduced to pickleball was probably in 6th grade PE in middle school. And I was like, this is like a lame version of tennis, but everyone's playing it now. And you see it's the fastest growing sport. When you said that term, you know what kids told me? It's the fastest growing sport in America? Lacrosse kids. And now lacrosse is kind of petering out a little bit. So
wow.
It's interesting to see the future of pickleball. But hey, it's a lot of fun. And if you're being active and you're outdoors, I'm all in.
And here's the other thing is that, you get to be closer to my age, and running around a tennis court, it's not as easy as it used to be. But a pickleball, kind of still kind of handle it. All right. FP, you were talking about something numbers-wise when we were in the break.
Well, yeah, guys, we can't bury the lead here. The number one story, of course, this weekend was the NFL divisional round, okay? And it was awesome. There's a lot of good games. Some games are kind of blowouts. I mean, I think the biggest stunner we could talk about was the Bengals over the Bills. It was just complete dominance. And we thought it was going to be a good game, but we didn't see dominance like that coming. But I have the numbers here. I mean, this is Sports Econ 101. The NFL divisional round was the third best ever viewing-wise, but it was down 2% from last year, which is interesting.
Huh.
And the biggest game of the weekend, to no surprise, was 49ers Cowboys, drawing 45.7 million viewers, which is the second best divisional game on record.
What was the first?
So it was 2017 Packers and Cowboys. Was number one, and that had, I think, 48 million viewers. So
amazing.
Pretty incredible stuff, right? But I was looking at these numbers this morning, guys, and I want to get your thoughts. We're seeing like a huge explosion in the tech industry right now, right? Or implosion, I should say. The bubble's popping, right? I was thinking sports-wise, Is this ever going to happen to sports? Do you think there's going to be a sports bubble that pops where people are just over it? There's too much money in the game. There's too much investments. Everybody just bails out of sports.
I don't think so because you see cable expand and people are watching more TV than they ever really have, or on the internet or so forth. People have the ability to see more than they ever have before, and there's always money in that. There's always going to be advertising. There's always going to be revenue to be had. In fact, that what we see, you just pointed out, like how for the game.
Yeah, Russell, your mic is cutting in and out a little bit there.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any such thing as too much money, though. In the corporate world, just bring it in.
That's true, Vern. I guess I'm saying I see a trend in a lot of sports, and we've discussed this, with a lot of sports struggling, except for probably the NFL and soccer, right? Major League Baseball is having its problems. The NBA is having a lot of regional problems with ratings, right? There's only like 3 teams that are actually pulling positive ratings at the end of the day.
What do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because basketball got really popular.
I think it's a lot of because of load management. I think a lot of players aren't playing all the time. I think it's a game that you go to, right? It's a show that you go to, but you don't really feel like you need to watch the game until, it gets to that point in the season where teams are competing for the last few spots in the playoffs. And then the playoff ratings are great in the NBA. Don't get me wrong. It's like March Madness too. The March Madness ratings are great in college, but leading up to March Madness, nobody really cares unless it's a big rivalry, right? It's just unless you're a diehard fan.
Yeah,
the numbers show that.
They're an alum. Yeah,
I'm wondering if we're ever going to have sports fatigue. It's just
and there aren't enough diehard fans until crunch time actually happens. The NBA, the numbers are going to go up mid-April on because that's why they have the play-in game. They have these extra layers. They're trying to do what they can, but you're right, FP. Yeah, regular season on a Tuesday night, and it's Orlando against New Orleans. It's just
exactly.
It's going to be like that.
No, I definitely got to say that during March Madness, especially when you get down to maybe the Sweet 16, that's when it really gets exciting.
Yeah.
So we for CBS, so we need you watching all the time.
Of course. So a couple things. Okay, so you were mentioning about the Bengals. Now apparently there's been so much betting on the Bengals, and I don't know if this is because of how well they played or because Mahomes with his leg, who knows what's going on there. But now the Bengals are favored, right?
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it started off as a half-point dog, and now they're a 2.5, 1.5, 2.5 point favorite, or something like that.
It only has to do with betting. It's very similar, like when I used to sell a lot of insurance, right?
Yeah.
You could be the most dangerous occupation in the world, but if there are never any claims, those guys are going to have really good premiums. Versus ones you look at and you go, why would that be a dangerous job? Well, too many people are putting claims in, and it's all based on the money side. Go ahead.
Well, I got to talk about the line real quick, though. It was probably one of the craziest lines ever. If you watch football even casually, you're like, something's wrong here. Vegas knows something that we don't. The line was 8.5 points. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So, and the Bengals were playing so good. So that means if the Bengals were within 8.5 points of the Bills, right, you're going to get your money. You're going to win the bet. They ended up blowing out the Bills. Everybody thought coming into this game, it was going to be a relatively good game. The Bengals were playing great. The Bills, kind of looked weird against Miami. They thought this was going to be everybody thought this was going to be a great game, but Vegas had the Bengals as 8.5 point underdogs, which is crazy. So everybody just cashed in on that bet, and Vegas lost a lot of money.
Well, I wonder how, and again, they're both cold weather playing teams, and they're both they both have the same advantage or disadvantage. I wonder how different the game would have been had been just a regular, normal October day.
Yeah, it would have been interesting, but to me, that was one of the weirdest lines of the year, and it almost was so good and so juicy to so many bettors. I don't bet, but hearing from all my friends that do bet, they were telling me dude, this is what's up. Is there somebody injured? Is Joe Burrow hurt? Is what's going on here? Because this line doesn't make sense. And a lot of people took the Bengals and it paid off. So
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So now you got a scenario where you get, once again, for the second straight year, the two teams are going to tackle each other again. And I'll say this from Cincinnati. I don't know about you, Beth P, but Joe Burrow and those guys, they don't fear anybody.
Yeah.
No, sir.
I love that.
They're one of those anytime, anywhere, will play on pavement. And Burrow, boy, he just doesn't. I mean, he just doesn't care. I mean, not that he doesn't respect the other opponent, but he's he's just going just full bore in there, going, "Hey boys, let's get this done," and
Joe
they do.
Cool.
Well,
The new Joe Cool.
when we come back, we'll obviously talk about the 49ers also. But along those lines, Brock Purdy kind of seems the same way. It's like, hey, I'm an NFL quarterback. I don't care if I've been here, if I'm a rookie or if I've been here 10 years. This is how you play the game. I love that. Okay, you guys ready for our first trivia question on the NFL? Here we go. This one actually caught me for a loop. What city did the Redskins play in before they moved to Washington?
Okay.
Right? I always thought that they were the Washington Redskins, but I was wrong. Email Edward at sportsecon101.
Oh, I know this one. I think I know this one.
You think you know this one? Okay. What
Yeah.
city did the Redskins play in before they moved to Washington? All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Don't not touch that dial.
All right.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question on the NFL. What city did the Redskins play in before they moved to Washington?
Russ?
The only one who knows it is Russ, right?
Sheboygan.
No.
I thought it was.
I know it, but I looked it up.
I had said Pottsville, but I don't know. What city?
Go ahead, Effie.
It's Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Boston
They were the
Redskins.
Boston Redskins? For how long?
I
Anybody
think for
know?
a few years. So I'm looking it up now. In 1932, they were known as the Boston Braves, and they changed their name in 1937 before they moved to the Redskins.
Gotcha. Yeah. Very good. All right.
Braves.
I know,
There was already a Boston Braves baseball team. So
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, like, if you look at the history, there's a great video on YouTube. A lot of the NFL or the football teams tried to take the same name as the baseball teams. And the only one that stuck was the New York Football Giants, because they wanted to have the New York Football Giants, the New York Baseball Giants. So then Boston did the same thing. They wanted the Boston Football Braves. And then it's this huge thing.
Well, it's funny, for years, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of people forget that the Cardinals, came out to Phoenix, but and then they had the Rams go to St. Louis and all that. But yeah, for many years, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, there's a very interesting video, the evolution of sports names and how it came to be in the U.S. And I highly recommend it. It's very fascinating.
It's funny.
Quick story. I'll tell you a quick story. I had a doctor's appointment. Am I in and out again? Am I low again?
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Hello?
No, you're cutting in and out of there, my friend. I'll tell you, while you're figuring that one out, let me go ahead and I'll tell you my little St.
All right, go ahead.
My little St. Louis Cardinals one. So doing the Dave Casper, the Joe Morgan Memorial Golf Tournament, I got to play with Mel Gray, and now he's like 75 years old, but he used to be a wide receiver for the St. Louis Cardinals football team, right? And he was a good player, not a Hall of Famer, but a good player. And son of a gun, if he couldn't drive the ball like crazy, and I just kind of looked and I said, no, I am not letting a 75-year-old man outdrive me. That was my Mel Gray story. But go ahead, Bert.
Well, I was. Can you hear me now? Oh, we're good. Okay, so I'm getting my blood pressure checked at the doctor's office, and it was just some young 20-something, and we're talking. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I really love sports. I love football. I know everything about it." And I go, and then she goes, "What was your favorite team growing up?" And I said the Baltimore Colts. She goes, "No, you mean Indianapolis?" I went, "You didn't know you were in Baltimore before Indianapolis, did you?" "No."
Oh, yeah.
So, there you go.
I love that story.
That's funny.
That's pretty good. Let's see here. So,
Same deal. Same deal with Paul Newman. Oh, he's the guy on the salad bottle. Nobody knows he was ever an actor.
oh,
Yeah, that's true.
John Madden. John Madden. The John Madden. The video game. Nobody
Yep.
knows he was a coach.
yeah.
So,
Well, the same thing with Ronald Reagan. They go, he was just a president, right? He was never an actor.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, he was the giver.
yeah. That's right.
Does anyone know the latest on Patrick Mahomes' leg? Because he got kind of gnarled out there at that game.
I think
Well, he
it's just
came
day-to-day
back
right
in the
now.
second half.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just day to day. I got mad.
So guys, I want to talk about.
He did not look the same.
Go ahead, FP.
I want to talk about the next round. It's very interesting because it's the exact same as last year, only replaced the Rams with the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if
Okay.
there's going to be kind of fatigue from other NFL viewers. And one of the most interesting stats in the AFC too that I just saw the other day on Twitter is that in the past, I think 12 years, the AFC Championship has only been in 3 places. Can you name those 3 places?
Okay, New England.
New England,
New England.
Well, 5 straight years, Kansas City,
Kansas
right?
City, and then can you name the other one? Only 1 year is at this place.
Indianapolis.
It was Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
So isn't that pretty crazy to think about?
Yeah.
In 12 years, the AFC Championship game's only been in 3 places. So I'm really interested. I'm sure the appetite for football here is crazy in America. But I think it's interesting how we always see like these patterns of dominance in the sport, and people still come back, and everybody's still watching it.
Yeah, for years, like NBA, Boston versus the Lakers,
Yeah, then the
rivalry.
Bulls.
The Bulls, yeah.
Yeah.
But of
Well,
course,
it's just
when you
one
have
of-
Michael Jordan, you always want to see him. But go
It's
ahead.
just one of those things where, a lot of times the best team doesn't always win, but the best team that day
Yeah.
wins the football game. And nobody thinks about the freaky stuff that happens. Batted ball in the air, caught by a defender, run back, fumbles,
Yep.
injuries. People just,
George Kittle's off the helmet catch.
Yeah.
How about that? He wasn't even the primary receiver on that play. He was just trying to get space, and he caught the football.
So as a fan watching the game, and I'm sure you guys did too, did your heart kind of skip a couple of beats when was it? Come on, who's the running back for the Niners who ran out of bounds or shouldn't have? Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, Elijah Mitchell.
Mitchell. Yeah, we're going. Stay in bounds. And then when who was going to get the sack for a safety?
Eric Armstead.
Eric Armstead, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and again, I haven't asked him this question, but I'm guessing he was kind of concerned about, like, I don't want to have any, roughing the passer penalty.
That is exactly what he said. Yeah,
Oh, is
I
that
want
what
to
he
get
said?
whistled for any of that because he knows just that freaky hankies can just go up for anything, and the quarterback is like, a piece of tin.
Yeah. But it's like, at least jump up and try to block the ball. I mean,
Yeah,
right.
I had to think. I go, that can be the only logical reason.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said after the game. Yep.
Well, okay, then it's excusable then. Yeah, the Cowboys just did not have it that day. But I wanted to mention this quick thing here. So Tom Brady got fined for attempting to trip a cowboy after an interception. Hooker, I think it was. Now it's kind of interesting because it's sort of like when let's say from a crime standpoint, right? Let's say domestic violence, you want to catch the person before they actually commit the crime. Now, obviously, penalties are a little different than crimes. You don't want to go, okay, well, wait till after you kill the person and go, okay, now you go to jail. So you kind of look at like this tripping situation, and Brady admitted that he did try to trip him because he kind of missed him with his arms and stuff. And so, so the officials didn't see let's put it this way: they may have seen it on replay, but because they did a replay and they did do a penalty on one of the other, there was some kind of a tough tussle going on, but they didn't call a penalty on Brady. But after when the powers that be looked at the film, they say, hey, wait a minute, he tried to trip him there. Now he didn't do it, but they still fined him like 16 grand, which is nothing for him. But what do you guys think about the idea of either fining or throwing a penalty for an attempt at a penalty. You know, it's something that didn't happen. You know what I mean?
It's all judgment call. I mean, what are you going to do? You know,
because I mean, you could have really hurt him if he did
been-
slide into him that way.
Yeah, and you know how those
it's
things
been a
go?
rough playoff run for a lot of these referees too.
It has been. And you know how those things go, which is really interesting. And I'd love to hear Russell's input on this. What happens is the agent will call somebody, will call the league office and be like, hey, so-and-so tried to trip my client. Will anything come of this? And then that's how people get fined. It happens all the time. It's the agents that really facilitate these fines. Because like my client was put in harm's way. He broke this code right here. He was trying to attempt to harm my client. We need to watch out for this. And maybe the player himself went to his agent. I don't think he would, but sometimes that happens. And then sometimes the NFL officiating crew rewatches the tape and like, oh, look at what Brady did right there.
I think that's more the case. I don't think they listen to agents all that much, because then agents would be calling up like every week, all the time, constantly saying, you know, every player would probably like say, I was held, I was tripped. I mean, football is a physical thing. In fact, you know, when there's a fumble, you know, I've heard that like probably the worst situation in any sport is to be underneath the dog pile during a fumble. I've heard that the things that happen to players during the scrum when they're trying to get a ball, I mean, the things that get grabbed and
and you get bit if you can
bit and pulled and scratched, and all that during.
But think about it, you gotta have at least 1,000 pounds on you.
And no one can see it. I mean, no one can see what's going on underneath the dog pile. And so what guys are doing to the other guys to try to get the ball loose. I've heard that in an average fumble scrum, that the ball changes hands like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, I know that's a challenging job for the refs, because there's so much flesh and very little pigskin that you see where I had that ball, then he just took it from me.
So I just want to comment what Russell said. Like I've gotten to know some people in league offices, and they tell me it's crazy how many agents call like every single day about something. And the big one is in baseball, which is crazy. So say that you're a pitcher, okay? You're a high-profile pitcher, and it's a contract year especially, okay?
Yeah.
And one of your teammates, like it looks like it's an error, but they scored a hit. Right? So they scored a hit. It's bad for you, but good for your teammate, right? Because an error is a big deal for a defender. Well, guess what agents will do? They'll call the league office. They'll ask them to change it to an error, which negatively affects their teammates' salary eventually.
Oh, wow.
And then helps themselves out. And that happens all the time.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, guys, catch you. That's really weird. Okay, really quickly. In 1985, the Bears, Chicago Bears, only lost 1 game. To which team? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. Our second trivia question. In 1985, the Bears only lost 1 game. To which team? And if I'm not mistaken, this same team did it again to another team, but I can't remember which one it was.
Was it Green Bay?
Was it or the Patriots?
No.
I don't know.
It was an AFC team, though.
Yeah. The Dolphins?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And I'm trying to remember who else they ruined a perfect season for, which is kind of interesting because the whole idea of perfect season, because of the 72 Dolphins, you know, you know what? For some reason, I just was thinking, I don't know why I thought about this. Sal Bando just died.
Yeah. It happened on Saturday morning.
I love to watch it. I knew every player on that team. I was in the early 70s, and that was the A's. That was great, just great.
And apparently, out of everybody on that team, all those superstars, Sal Bando was the dad of the team. Like if Sal said, "Hey, cut it out," then okay.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. He was.
Well, he's a third baseman. You know, third baseman kind of have that swagger about him.
Yeah, he was the grown-up in the room. Yeah.
Well, I would be very nervous to play third base, you know, in the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're
Right.
in a center fielder or something. I mean, I know there's a lot of action, you can get hurt and all that, but it ain't the same as being on the hot corner.
Yeah, but the fields are so manicured, you don't have to worry about a rock like you do in college or high school.
Yeah.
Like if it, I've seen some gross injuries where the field's not manicured right, and obviously they just don't have the resources to, and
Yeah.
it takes a weird hop off the lip of the grass or off a
Yeah.
rock and just
Ugh.
shatters a kid's teeth or gets them in the nether
Ugh.
regions.
You wouldn't be
Oh,
worried about being
my
a
God.
catcher and having the bat like swing and
Yeah.
hit you in the mask, or a ball, go right into your chin or something like that. I mean,
Yeah, that's Chuck Yeager, Steve Yeager, excuse me, had because he got hit twice in the throat.
yeah,
And then one time the bat splintered and hit him in the throat. In fact, I
Yeah.
remember just playing softball, right? And the catcher, for whatever reason, wanted to get the bat out of the way, and he just tossed it, but he tossed it too hard, and he broke the umpire's hand.
yeah.
Whoa.
That umpire was not happy at all.
If it's a play at the plate, that's got to be on the guy that's on deck to throw the bat away. So that way,
Yeah, but I mean, this was like a little. I mean, the catcher was a little bit of an odd duck anyway, and the bat really wasn't that close. But I guess he just thought, who knows? This could be a home run, and it's like, just instead of tossing it, he just threw it wildly.
interesting.
All right. Do we have any Super Bowl predictions, guys?
Oh God.
Well, first, who's going to get into the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's the big question. That's
Yep.
the big question. And does the NFC champion win the Super Bowl? Does the AFC champion?
Well, first, let's go to the AFC. Okay, is it going to be Kansas City or Cincinnati going to do it again?
I'm going Cincinnati for whatever. I'm just
Cincinnati?
going
I
Cincinnati.
think Cincinnati will do it again too, especially if Mahomes, is kind of limping. And in fact, Cincinnati did it at Kansas City last year too. If I
I
remember
think it's
correctly.
funny that everybody talks about Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
He goes out of the game. Chad Henning comes in.
Yeah.
And he leads a 98-yard drive for
Yeah.
a score. It's a team record.
Yeah.
It might be even a league record for longest playoff
Maybe.
drive.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. No, he came in like he owned the team. Go ahead, Effie.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's really hard to beat a team 4 times in a row in the NFL. Okay, so the Bengals with Joe Burrow are 3-0 against the Chiefs. That's pretty crazy. The Chiefs look like the weakest, but usually when the team looks the weakest in the NFL, they usually win. It's just a very weird league like that.
Well,
Right?
I don't think
Because maybe-
Cincinnati's going to take him for granted, though.
Oh, we
Yeah.
lost Vern.
Yeah, we lost.
I mean, all we know in the NFL is like they're probably going to play up this injury. They're going to be like, oh, he can't even walk. He's in a walking boot. He might even show up in a walking boot, right? And for all we know, he could be perfectly fine. That's just how the NFL operates. It's all about misdirection and smoke and mirrors. So.
Well, my dad used to tell me that when he would watch Jim Brown play, they always were gunning for Jim Brown, and he would limp back to the huddle, and then the other team would kind of think, okay, great, we got him, and then just come right back out again.
That's him.
That's him.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so seems like most of us are going for Cincinnati.
I'll go Chiefs. I'll just go the other way.
Russell,
I don't really believe that in my heart, but I think
I'm going Cincinnati this time.
Boy, that win against the Bills was just so blew me away so much because it's supposed to. I'm wondering if Josh Allen might become like the new version of
Dan Marino.
Yeah, that everyone said this is his year. He's gonna do it. He's one of the phenoms. He's the future of the NFL. And again, he doesn't win anything.
Yeah.
But Kansas City just has so many weapons, and the fact that they'll be home field, I don't see Cincinnati being able to pull that off twice, even if they have to play Chad Henne. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
All right, so we got
Okay,
Vern
all right.
and I with Cincinnati, and FP and Russell going for the Chiefs. Okay, now you got the Eagles and Niners.
100% 49ers.
Well, you'd say
course,
that
Russ.
anyway.
I will, and look at how far I've been right so far.
Yeah, I know, but you honestly though, you would say that if they were down
Yes.
to if they were down to 3 players because they really got hurt.
Fine, we've made it this far. The Niners have the best, have the most balance of any of the teams right now.
I'm still a little concerned about the secondary, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vern. What do you think?
I don't know about that, Russ. I don't know about most balance of any team. I mean, the Eagles are pretty loaded in every area, and the Eagles have a running quarterback. How do the 49ers do against running quarterbacks? Not very well.
That's
So,
good.
But their running back isn't CMC either.
That's
They're
true.
running. They don't have a running back the quality of CMC, and CMC was bottled up against Dallas. I think he's going to explode against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now, is that his nickname now, CMC?
Oh, it has been. It's always been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in his career, it's been.
Well, those are the initials of his name.
Yeah. I'm gonna get it. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Is Jalen?
Yeah, so
Jalen hurt though? Doesn't he hurt a little bit?
He is.
Jalen Hurts.
Not right.
He's supposed to have something wrong with his shoulder, but it looked pretty good to me as they just took the Giants and tore them apart. But
yeah,
this is going to be a tough one. In fact, I'm flying out there Saturday morning, and I'll be covering there for my station on Sunday. It's going to be hostile. It's going to be one of these body bag, beat 'em up kind of games. It's I expect it to be similar to the Cowboy game.
Vern, I have a Philadelphia question for you.
Go.
Pats or Geno's?
Geno's
Okay.
steaks.
Okay, that's
and it's funny, and they're right across the street from each other.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something.
Rivalry.
I'm a Pats guy. So,
Okay, fine.
That divides the city. That literally people throw that around and they want to know, what are you, a Pats or Geno's guy?
Right.
McDonald's, Burger King. I don't know.
Even more. It's even more volatile.
Okay. FP,
right now, as I'm doing this show right now, and then again, I have the rest of the week to change my mind. I'm coughing up Eagles feathers.
Yeah.
Even though I cover the 49er team,
sure.
I just unless this will be D'Amico Ryan's masterpiece if he can figure this thing out.
Yeah. I 100%.
He'll be a head coach pretty soon. Go ahead.
Yeah, he will be. So there's two huge deciding factors in this, and one of them hasn't been brought up. The Eagles' defense is one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, believe it or not.
First.
Yeah, they struggle with the run game. So
wasn't that supposed to be the Cowboys' Achilles heel too?
Yeah, which it actually
they were
showed in the
fifth.
second half. It really started to show in the second half.
Yeah, it did.
So if you can break down that defensive wall and have their way with them, that's the ball game. But
and we know that's what Shanahan wants to do.
Yep.
Exactly. But this defensive line is twice as good as the Cowboys' defensive line, and Brock Purdy has really got to step up, and I'm really concerned about that. I think he's been great so far. I think he's phenomenal, but there's a guy on the other side with 16 sacks, and I think their front four all have 10 sacks or more. It's just absolutely famine or feast for these guys. And
yeah, because when Purdy has
Brock Purdy, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, when Purdy has time, he does very well. I mean, it's kind of typical with a regular quarterback, but definitely when he gets flushed out quickly. I mean, he still rises above the occasion. He really does.
He has raised the bar for himself for so long. I mean, it was no wonder that at some point he had to kind of look rookie-like. That's what we saw in the first half of the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
But getting back to this, I mean, Hurts is better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He's the MVP. He's the MVP. We're talking about the MVP. It's
CMC
crazy.
is the MVP.
It's crazy he's not getting more love, Russell.
He won't get it, but he definitely deserves at least.
You look at how the Niners have transformed from a mediocre team to being, unstoppable.
Absolutely.
And it's all because of CMC.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. It's unfortunate he doesn't get the love he deserves.
Now, wouldn't it be crazy if it ends up being the Niners and the Bengals for a third Super Bowl battle?
That'd be cool. It should have been that last year.
Would that be something?
Somewhere Chris Collinsworth. is going to be, suiting up and
You know
getting
what's
back
funny? When he was a player, I couldn't stand him. He had this attitude, and he just thought he was just the greatest thing.
What changed?
Well, you know what? I think age changes you, and
He
kind of makes you a
hates the
little more humble.
49ers so much.
He does. Yeah.
He hates
Well,
it. Well, I can imagine.
but you can understand how personal it is for him. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
you know.
But I don't think he
athlete.
hassles. He doesn't. He seems to. When I listen to him, he seems a little bit more objective.
He's
got a lot.
In talking to broadcasters that used to be players, obviously my father was one.
Yeah.
You kind of lose that competitive edge in the booth a little bit, and you just start to call the game and paint the picture, right? But trust me, in the beginning, I noticed this really in the beginning of my father's career when he was in the broadcast booth. He was rooting for a team to win always. You can tell. I knew him. Like I was like, hey, just call the game. I know you're upset about the umpire not calling that call a strike, or it was a bang play at first. Just relax, like call the game. And I'm sure a lot of other of his mentors did the same and told him like, hey man, just call the game, right? And you do a good job of that, and eventually you just become a broadcaster, not a player anymore. But the funniest thing, working with guys that just got done playing, and I did this a lot at NBC, they still have that player in them, and trust me, off the screen, they're cussing at the TV. Like, why is it so-and-so in there? This is, they're screaming and yelling, and they're still so competitive, and everybody's like, hey, this is television. We just react, man. We're not playing anymore. It's like the hardest thing you got to instill to people.
I can, I sort of imagine myself doing that, calling a game or something and going, what the heck? What is he doing? Realizing if you're actually good, no, you have to stay normal. Oh, okay, guys, we're going to cut to our third commercial break here, talking the NFL. Which team had the first running back to rush for 10,000 career yards? Which
10,000
had the first running back to rush for 10,000 career yards? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial.
All right.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. We've got a quorum here. Which team had the first running back to rush for 10,000 career yards? Which team?
Just a wild guess. Jim Brown.
Okay, so the team would be
the Browns. Yeah, I was thinking
Browns. Very good. That's right. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Jim Brown earlier today, but yeah, very good. All right, guys. Any last?
Just imagine this guy. This guy averaged 100 yards for every game he played. Every game he played, and it was a scenario where everybody in the stadium knew he was getting the ball, and they still couldn't stop him.
He was a man among boys. It seemed like
Bronco
Nagurski, if you remember him. I don't know if you remember. You hear the name Bronco Nagurski, but he would like
Nagurski.
Yeah, he would drag like 6 guys with him to the end zone. Okay, are you guys ready?
Before Edward lands the plane.
Yeah.
Hey Russ, did you see Paul Heyman on WWE Philadelphia calling out Brock Purdy in front of the crowd, saying that
That's
Brock
Purdy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you go. He's Purdy.
Because he normally manages a guy named Brock Lesnar. So
That's right, Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, guys.
yeah, that was hilarious.
Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. At my funeral, take the bouquet off of my coffin and throw it to the crowd to see who's next.
Oh, my.
Okay.
And I'm feeling kind of sad today. So can everyone please just send me cute pictures of their credit card front and back?
Yeah.
All right. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
Adios.
So long.